If your old identity is literally what's fully in your mind, driving the car, guess where you're gonna end up? The same place you've been thus far. You need to realize what you can no longer be, who you can no longer be, and how you can no longer act. Because if you can't figure that out, if you can't become aware of what's stopping you from taking these next steps, what's self-sabotaging you, because it will always be you versus you. Nobody else is stopping you except yourself. In order to step out of the old identity into the new identity, the old identity has to die. Hi everyone, my name's Adriana. I'm not sure if you've been here before, but if you haven't, I pretty much talk about self-growth, self-improvement, and everything that has to do with like reality creation, changing your life, transforming your life, and let's get into it. So today we're going to be talking about something that I feel like is not talked about enough. So often we hear, your mind controls reality, your thoughts create reality, your state of mind creates reality. So we're all like, when we make this beautiful discovery, we're all like, wow, like I know the key, I know the code, it's so simple. Like that's it. Like my mind controls reality, literally. So just by focusing, I should be fine, right? Now, I feel like what's not talked about enough is that you already had a mind before you came to this realization. This whole time up to this point, up to the point you made your discovery and you became aware of the fact that you're in control here, you're in the driver's seat, you've been driving this whole time, but pretty much like on autopilot. So due to the fact that you weren't aware, anything that you went through, all the experiences, your past, things that your parents might have passed on to you, taught you, told you about, maybe any traumatic experience you went through, they all pretty much created your present mind, got ingrained in your subconscious mind, which it's about 95% of your mind, right? The 5% is the conscious. So what we control is very little of our brain. Most of it, the reactions and most of our reality is created by the 95% of our mind, our brain, right? So what we have to realize is that this old mind is pretty much our subconscious mind. And everything you've learned up to this point has been literally ingrained in your subconscious, and your subconscious has been driving the car. Now you made this discovery, now you know, now you're aware, now you're like, okay, actually I can take control of my life. Okay, actually the mind actually has such a big influence. You made this discovery. Now, what you don't realize is that there's an old version of you, right? That's the one that's been driving up to this point. It's the one that naturally just reacts. It's the one that, without thinking, you operate from, right? So it's like when things happen in your life, the first reaction typically comes from your subconscious. So consciously, let's say you want to be better, right? Consciously, you want to be fitter. Consciously, you want to be more disciplined. But let's say you go through a life event or you had something bad happen to you randomly, right? Like you get like into a car accident or just like typical life difficulties, right? Or even like, some people go through worse. And what do you want to do? You just want to go back on autopilot. You don't want to think. You kind of just want to relax and let that old version of you just take control because it's what feels safe. It's what you've been doing up to now. It's what's kept you alive until now. Remember, our bodies pretty much operate from survival. What it's mostly known to like keep you feeling safe, keep you feeling your norm, right? Like not out of your comfort zone. It prefers to do that. It prefers to do that than to go into unknown territory. So now you're at the point where you're like, okay, I want to transform my life. Now, why do most people get stuck here? And even though they know about the fact that their life can change just by taking control, right? But they ignore the fact that a very big percentage of your brain was being controlled by an old version of you that no longer suits where you want to go. That doesn't really support you getting out of your comfort zone, that doesn't necessarily want you to get to the next level. And it's simply out of safety, it's simply out of comfort, right? But if we don't acknowledge the fact that we have to overcome our old identity in order to jump into this new version of us, it's not just think positively, it's not just be aware, it's not just focus. Like, you need to recognize who you used to be. You need to just deconstruct him or her. And you need to realize what you can no longer be, who you can no longer be, and how you can no longer act. Because if you can't figure that out, if you can't become aware of what's stopping you from taking these next steps, what's self-sabotaging you, because it will always be you versus you. Nobody else is stopping you except yourself. No matter what anyone's going through, the only person that can actually stop you is yourself. And actually, an old identity, an old version of you. Simply out of comfort, right? And I think a lot of people skip that step, which is why a lot of people do journaling or meditation, just to get to know who you are when you're on autopilot, who you are when you're not trying to consciously like change, who you are subconsciously. And a lot of this comes from, experiences from the past, what you were taught, what you were told, what society has told you to do up to this point. And the reality, the harsh reality, is that the old version of you cannot occupy such a big portion of your mind. You need to be consumed by the new version of you. You need to be so fully embodied in who you want to be. And the worst part about it is that our bodies naturally want to go back to comfort. So that's why change is hard, because you really need to want to change. You really need to want to get out of your comfort zone. You really need to want to take risk if you want to be somebody else, if you want to be this improved version of you, if you want to reach your highest self and your highest potential. Like they always say, your new life is going to cost you your old life. And it's really going to take letting go and releasing. And so many people try to become a new version of them without letting go of the past version of them, without even being aware of who they used to be. How do you expect to change without changing? Like internally, how do you expect your world to change if you haven't changed? If you haven't changed, because you changing is what's going to lead to that change. Think about it. It sounds simple, but it's like the moment you change, you start acting different. You start feeling different. You start thinking different. You start being led to do things differently. And that's where the change happens. Not out of forcing, not out of thinking positively, not out of just trying to create and change your reality and just morph your entire life. Like, it literally comes from change. Internal change. Not external change. Because the only way external change happens is if internal change happens first. So stop focusing on the external change and start focusing on the internal change. Because once you do, the rest won't matter. It will naturally occur. You will naturally be led to this new life. And through connecting with divinity, it will be in a very synchronistic manner. And yeah, even more magical than you changing your reality. Even more magical than you forcing yourself to change your life and working hard and striving and just killing yourself just to make things happen. Because reality is, that with the universe, things happen magically, synchronistically. You're not alone, and to think that you do all this alone is just insane. You know, everything is spiritual, and I say this in almost every one of my videos because it is. To think that this world is just physical is just to be unaware of what's really out there. Because we don't perceive much of what reality is, and you can search this up. We really don't. We only see such a small percentage scientifically. So it's like, instead of doubting so much what you see and that you don't see progress, like, just start looking inwards and start looking at where you stop yourself from this life, where you stop yourself from embodying who you want to be, where you stop yourself from becoming who you want to be, from releasing who you used to be. Because yes, your mind controls reality, your mind can shift reality, that's the code, that's the key. But it's like, if your old identity is literally what's fully in your mind, driving the car, guess where you're going to end up? The same place you've been thus far. Because in order to step out of the old identity into the new identity, the old identity has to die, has to actually be released for the new version of you to emerge and be born. And one more thing I wanted to speak on is to not shame yourself as you're changing, as you're transforming. So what I've noticed in this journey of mine is that as I'm becoming this newer, higher version of me in this shift, I keep noticing a lot of back and forth, right? So it's almost like a tug of war between versions of myself, because it's you versus you, right? Your higher version, or where you're trying to get to, and your old version. Now, what we don't realize is that it's sometimes not linear, okay? You can step back and forth between versions of you, but it's about not giving up. It's about continuing, because eventually you will just be this higher version of you. Just like you're this old version of you now, right? Eventually you'll just be and fully embody this new version of you. But you can't shame yourself every time you fall back into the old frequency, into the old version of you. When you react out of your subconscious, when you automatically react, right? Like on autopilot, and you're like, damn, like, I'm not supposed to do that. I'm not supposed to be like that. I didn't follow the habits I usually do. I messed up one day. Every time you feed into that and you like shame yourself, it's like throwing you back. It's throwing you back into feeling bad, into the old version of you, into the old identity. So it's like, be more graceful. Stop shaming yourself so much. It's natural. Just like they say healing isn't natural. I mean, just like they say healing isn't linear, transformation isn't linear. Becoming a new version of you is not linear. And you have to be graceful with yourself. And you have to be understanding. Because as long as you keep your eye on the goal, on the vision, and you trust more your inner vision than your outer vision, you will get there. You will. And whatever you focus on, if you watch my channel, you know, whatever you focus on, you will achieve. Because it's fully within your capacity. It is fully within all of our capacities to reach our higher versions. But it's like, are you determined to make this change happen? Are you determined to keep fighting for the higher version of you? Are you determined to let go of everything, of what everything was, in order to step into this new version? And be graceful in the process. Stop shaming yourself for just being human, for just falling into old patterns, because you're human. You need to be graceful, because that will take you so many steps back if you keep shaming yourself. And I've done that, and I've felt it pull me back. So it's like, you need to allow yourself to be. If you're already in this position where you have the awareness, where you're trying to be this new version of you, you will get there. Stop shaming yourself and become aware of who you used to be. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I got for today, but it's really much just an emphasis on getting to know who you are, who you've been up to this point in your life, who's been driving up to this point in your life. Letting go of your old self is just like letting go of like a past relationship or a past job or a past friend or whatever it is. It's just the same way. It's like you have to appreciate who you used to be, who you were, because it got you to where you are today. And everything happens for a reason, and I'm a big, big believer in that. There's a reason why you had to go through whatever you went through unaware for you to wake up and be conscious and be able to know this, right? Which not too many people are aware of how much your mind truly affects the material realm. So be grateful for it. Be graceful to who you used to be. Because all they were doing was surviving. All they were doing was trying to keep you safe. So appreciate it. Because think about it, like every time you think back through about like something you went through, it's like you're like, damn, yeah, like I don't regret that. Like that had to happen. So it's like the old version of you was meant to exist. She was meant to exist to teach you, or he, certain things that now you have. And for some reason, you needed this knowledge, you needed this wisdom. And now you have this awareness. And you need to be graceful and end on good terms, literally, with your old self. To welcome the new. But don't shame who you used to be. You can't elevate by shaming where you came from, by putting down who you used to be. So I just wanted to remind you guys about that it's not only think your way into a new life, but it's deconstruct who you used to be, accept who you used to be, forgive who you used to be, and be graceful while you're transforming into the new version of you. And that is all I got for today. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day or night. And I wish all of you so many blessings from the bottom of my heart, like truly. I want the best for all of us, as always. Alrighty, bye. See you in the next one.